Hey guys, and happy Thursday. So today I'm going to be making some paper out of recycled old paper. So the first thing that you're going to do is get a blender, shred up some paper. This can be old mail, anything like that. Add some water in there to kind of fill up over the paper. Blend it until you get just some pulp there. And then I'm going to be using this Katch paper mat. I don't know, it's like tape. It's a tape bottom and you use it as a surface cover. And this is actually the second time that I'm using this particular piece. I used it and then I just rolled it back up and I'm using it again now. And this is waterproof, so it's great for painting on surfaces so that the paint doesn't get through. And they sent me these amazing samples, and guys, this stuff is so good. And I used this stuff, and I'll show you at the end how it kept my surface dry even after using it with all the water in this DIY. So I'm going to be using the decals that I made in a previous DIY. If you haven't seen that, I'll put it up in the cards and I'll also add it into the description box. I'll put the link in my description box. But I made these a couple of videos ago. And so I'm going to use them today to make the paper. So you're going to need that. You're going to need a sponge. You're going to need some kind of a tub or a basin. And you're going to need some water, some extra water. Now the pitcher looks like it's dirty. It's just stained from my husband making tea in the pitcher. So no, it's not dirty water. It's just a tea stained pitcher. So you're going to go ahead and add the pulp to the tub or the bucket or whatever you're using. It needs to be big enough to hold your deckle. Then I'm just going to add some water to it, and then you're going to swish it around just to make sure that all the pulp is broken down and you don't have any big chunks in there. But when you blend the paper, you want to make sure that the pulp is as fine and as mixed up and as possible. So again, you're just going to go ahead, mix this up, make sure that there's not any big chunks, everything's as broken down as possible. And just like I said, just make sure it's nice and smooth and the water isn't clumpy or anything like that. Then you're going to go ahead, you're going to take your deckle. What you do is you take the deckle with the whatever mesh you're using on the top, and then you take the empty frame and you put it on top so that it makes a frame basically. So then what you're going to do is dip it in there, and you don't want to move it around too much when it's in the water. You just want to kind of let the pulp kind of land inside of the deckle and just let it get smooth. And then you're going to go ahead and kind of get all the excess water off of there. And then I'm going to go ahead and make two different sizes today. The first one that I used was actually the screen that I got from a part from the Dollar Tree. You'll see in the deckle video how I made these. And then this is the one with the muslin cloth. Now, if you mess it up, it's not a big deal. I'm going to show you here kind of how this one was a little bit clumpy and I moved it around too much, so it was kind of uneven and not flat. So I'm going to show you here that this is actually a very forgiving project. All you have to do is just put it back in the water, get all the pulp off of there, and start over. Now the bin that I'm using is a little bit small, so it's making it a little bit harder to use this bigger deckle. So make sure whatever you're using is big enough to kind of maneuver and kind of move stuff around. And you just add more pulp if you need it, add more water if you need it. And guys, I'm so sorry about the lighting, but it was dark outside, and then I was using my ring light and it just wasn't working well in the area that I was in. The lighting was just really off. So I do apologize for the weird lighting in this video and the weird angle. I was just having all kinds of technical difficulties with this video, but I wanted to make sure that I got it out, and for today, this is what I wanted for today's video. So I just went ahead and kind of pushed through it. So anyway, so I went ahead and I did the same thing that I did with the first one. This one came out a lot better. I didn't have enough pulp in it the first time. So that's why it really wasn't working that well either. So I just added some pulp. And again, if your pulp is too thick, add more water. If it's too thin, add more pulp. So then the next thing that you're going to do, and this is kind of my way of doing it. I know other people do it differently. When I try doing it the other way, it never works. So what I do is I just take that top frame of the decal off, and then I take a sponge and I just go over it and remove all the excess water. As you can see, it's just coming right off. You have to be careful though when you pull the sponge off that you don't pull the pulp off with it. So just kind of gently pull it off. And this is when I've seen other people do it. What they do is they take the decal and they put the pulp side down on like a piece of cloth or something like that. For some reason, that just never works for me initially. I don't know if I'm doing it the wrong way, if I'm doing it too hard, or I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but that just never works for me. So this is the way that I do it, and it works fine. So again, you're just going to remove all that excess water from the from that pulp or from that paper, and you're just going to take the sponge, kind of squeeze it on there very gently, and just take all of as much of the excess water as you can off of it. And I'm going to do this to both of them. I'm not going to show you me doing it to both of them, but I did just kind of want to show you how I did it with this one, just so you can, get a better idea of what you have to do. Again, I'm just going to take that top frame off of there, and I'm just going to remove all that excess water. Then you're going to get a piece of dry cloth, whether it's a towel or a sheet or anything like that, and you're going to just flip the decal over, and so that the pulp side is down. And then I'm going to go through and take the even more of the water that is in that pulp off of there, so that it's as dry as I can make it without it, leaving it out to dry. I'm going to do that to both of them, get all that excess, water off of there. And then what you're going to do, ideally, this is how it turns out. And you're just going to try and pull it off very gently. And you should be left with that sheet on, with that paper on the dry sheet. As you can see, with the second one, it didn't work as well as the first one. And I know it's because this is the one with the muslin cloth on it. So it tends to stick a little bit more, especially if it's not dry. And I'm sorry for all the noise in the background, but my son is doing something out there and he's making a lot of noise. So I can't, there's nowhere else for me to go right now. So anyway, if it sticks like this, what you have to do is just remove some more of the excess water. That means it's just a little bit too wet. So so the paper is sticking to that cloth. And you can see there in the corner that it's starting to come off, but it's just still too wet. So what you do is you just get your sponge and you're going to try and remove some more of that excess water. And I kind of took this video just a little bit slower than I usually do. I usually speed it up so that it can go quickly, but I wanted you guys to see like all the steps. And this is just, again, my way of doing it. It's what works for me. You have to play around with it, kind of figure out what works for you, how it's easiest for you. I did tear this one, but it happens. Again, if you mess it up, you just start over. It's very forgiving, but this is how it should turn out. It just kind of pulls right off there. And again, you just play with it, kind of figure out what works best for you and how it's easiest for you. Everybody does it differently, and it just works better, however you can figure it out. So just kind of work with it, experiment with it, and see what works best for you. And then, I just used the towel, kind of took some more of that water off. So guys, today I'm really excited. It's our Save Our Earth collab, and it's hosted by Crystal over at the Purple Pixie. And I was honored when she asked me if I'd like to co-host. So of course I said yes, but I love this challenge. I haven't been able to participate up until now, but I love the idea behind it. It's recycling using trash to create all types of treasure. I will have her information along with the playlist in the description box. And if you are coming over here from the playlist. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you stick around. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so you're notified every time that I upload. And if you are returning a subscriber, thank you so much. You know I appreciate you. So guys, the next thing that you're going to do, now what I did was I sat this outside, let it dry for a little bit, but the weather is kind of, it's been humid out here, so it didn't dry as well as I wanted to. So what I usually do is iron it anyway so that it kind of lays a little bit flatter. So I just went ahead, took a sheet, put it over it, and just ironed it. And then just to embellish it, now the paper is done, but just to make it look a lot better, kind of show you what you can do with it, I got these rub-on transfers from the Dollar Tree, and I love them. They're so vintage and shabby chic. You can, use whichever ones. You can make this farmhouse, you can make it vintage, you can write on this paper now, you can, use watercolors on it, you can do whatever you want. But this one, I love it. It's got like this French thing going on, and it's like some of them are they look like postcards and letters and stuff like that. So I just went ahead and cut a few of them out, and then I just put them on there, and you'll only see me put a couple of them on here, but I did go through and just kind of put some on there, arrange them on there so that it looks like a letter, and one of them looks like a postcard, and I just think they turned out so pretty. And I can't wait to make like some farmhouse ones, paint on some of them, just do different things. And then you can make like junk journals out of them. If you do like what are those things called, those little envelopes, I can't remember what they're called, but you send them to like friends. And I mean, there's just so many things that you can do with this paper, and I love it. I love that it's recycled. I love that you can use it in like a planner or anything like that. Like I said, you can make a little notebook out of it. But guys, I love the way that it turned out. So just wanted to show you how this looks after I made a bunch of paper with it. And this Katch liner here, oh my God, it's so amazing. My table was dry. There was nothing that seeped through. And then I took this piece of paper, or this piece of liner, and I hung it up to dry, and I reused it a couple of times, and that stickiness on the bottom was still there. It still worked. And guys, this stuff is amazing. So I will leave the information for Katch in my description box as well. I mean, look at all the water that was just sitting on there, and it didn't seep through. I mean, look at that. That's incredible. Guys, this was so amazing. So yeah, so definitely check them out. I'll have all that information in my description box, along with the playlist, the link to Crystal's channel, and any other information that I might have. And guys, this is how it turned out. I love it. You can frame these. You can use them as paper for letters. You can use them in journals. The possibilities are endless. And if you'd like to see me show you how to make color paper or put little flowers and designs in it, let me know and I will gladly do that. And guys, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, be blessed and be the reason someone smiles. Bye.